Good morning, one and all. It's such a pleasure to meet all of you virtually through NextRise 2021 in Seoul. My name is GowriShankar. I'm from Maersk. The corporate accelerator function of Ocean Pro of Maersk is being headed by me. I was supposed to be in there in presence in reality, but unfortunately, due to the current pandemic situation, I'm joining this session virtually. Um, just wanted to, take you through some of my knowledge and understanding about this industry as logistics and how we've evolved over the years and what exactly is the math and the a kind of disruption that's happening in the space right now. I would also wanted to share a little bit of Mer's story along with it. So let's get straight to the presentation. I hope the screen is visible for all of you in a short while. Um, just as an idea, I call this presentation as thinking outside the container, which is a large box that we've been cut into for the last 60 years or so. Containerization or shipping has been one of the oldest business, and containerization happened only in the last 50 years. A 1,000+ year old industry got a physical disruption or the method to the madness only in very recent past, in under a century. And from there, the business has evolved so much. The industry has taken leaps in the way it's moving towards. So I just wanted to run you through some of my experiences on that space. Um, Moving to this interesting stock comparison of two companies. Um, the one in orange is a large online e-commerce company, and the one in black is actually a logistics company, right? If you see, in many cases, the amount of asset heaviness that has for an online e-commerce company versus a shipping company or a logistics company, we are asset heavy as an organization in most cases, right? But unfortunately, you see the stock prices being fairly stagnant, right? Not many exponential growths. But an e-commerce company keeps growing so fast. What exactly is happening here, right? In reality, most e-commerce companies or the retail giants or companies which are born today or called as digital natives, right? So they are born with technology in their DNA. So they are not necessarily an e-commerce company. They are a technology company selling products online. So when we stop being a shipping company or a logistics company trying to adapt technology, and instead when we become a technology company trying to do shipping, that's when the real disruption or the technology milestone is achieved. This is just a quick comparison of one such entity that I observed. But in simple reference, tech is dollar today. Technology is not an expense; it is a large revenue stream as well, as long as you know where to invest into. What you're seeing today is right now in the screen is a trend radar for the last or the next 5 years and 10 years. What is the technology that is expected to exponentially grow, and what will influence the world and the market, especially in the logistics space, right? Logistics trend radar. This is focused on technology for logistics. This is published by DHL. I'm just sharing it for everyone's reference. This is available online. You could probably read a little more deeper into it. But primarily, you could see that some of these technologies are there right now being explored. But there are items that we probably consider a long reality. We won't consider that this is going to happen anytime soon, right? For example, unmanned aerial vehicles. We believe that this is a long-term vision, right? But it's only 5 years from now or 10 years from now it is about to influence your business today. 3D printing, right? We believe that 3D printing is just a fancy, cool technology, right? It is there, far away, not going to touch logistics. But imagine when customization and personalization can get to maximum extreme, and if a 3D printer can exist everywhere, do you think someone will be sending products or just sending the designs out to the printer? So just try to democratize some of these technologies, and you will be able to see how disruptions can come from different directions to a business that you believe is very focused on just selling products, right? So that's another one. I'll just quickly take you into this space, just to give you a picture as to how much do we invest as logistics companies in the technology space, right? So what you're seeing here is the future of technology intervention. So what will come into play? So you will see a lot of physical internet standards. Everyone wants traceability, and track and trace is a basic expectation today. Data analysis is a big space. cloud logistics, everything to do with accessibility of content over cloud, blockchain, a heavy amount of robotics and automation. Autonomous vehicles is already there in control spaces. We will probably move into non-controlled or non-monitored spaces as well. Drones are at play already in the industry. And I already spoke about 3D printing. And then about the standardization, right? Many of these will work hand in hand only when we share this concept as an industry and not just as an independent organization. Uh, and that will drive the picture. So if you look at it, hardly from the from the last decade, from 2011, legacy logistics companies has invested very small portion of their money in the startup ecosystem or new upcoming technology. It's about roughly about $10 million. These are legacy companies. On the other hand, private equity companies, people who are betting on the new and interesting ideas, they've invested close to $150 million in the same logistics startups or tech startups. Kind of gives the understanding of how much we are not taking advantage of this whole ecosystem of new technology that is evolving around us. This is a personal self-questioning moment. I would want all the leaders and all the representatives of the industry who are there right now from the corporate sector to put yourself into this graph and see where do you fit in, all right? You could be a beginner when it comes to digital capability and leadership, or you could be a conservative one. And none of this is bad. None of this is a reference that is incorrect. But this is the graph that we generally evolve into, right? So we start as a beginner where we are skeptical about business value using digital technologies, and then we slowly move into a conservative role where we are okay. The vision is underdeveloped. We are not so sure, and then we master into some of these capabilities where we can maximize the outcome, where we can achieve the best out of technology being utilized. But there is a dimension which is the fashionistas. But this is the area that I would probably want no one of us to be, right? But some of them land there accidentally. In spite of taking advantage of digital technology, not having an overarching vision, having a lot of silos within the organization, will, in spite of having great technology with you, you might not capitalize the advantage that comes out of it. So that's a self assessment graph. I would want every one of us to kind of look at it and see where we stand as independent leaders and as an organization in cases. Followed by the graph, this is something that I wanted to share with you. We always look at one side of the coin when it comes to digital technology and adoption, which is high investments, just being aware and the knowledge around it, and talking more about what you're doing to the people in the world, right? The social media awareness that we create. But there's a flip side, which is generally overseen, and we try kind of miss the efforts that is sitting behind it. In spite of having great technology, you need to have ways to influence your employees every end point to ensure that they are striving for digital adoption. On the other hand, we have to govern the vision, otherwise it will fizzle out. And the leadership has to be a large portion of supporting these initiatives. It cannot be just a touch and go, but a really vested leadership that is important. So I'm going to take you through a small video clipping. Just come back right after that.
He's busy. No, don't. Change is here again.
I didn't know you were up at this hour.
I couldn't sleep. I've had an idea.
Let's talk about it in the morning.
I think you'll like it.
I think you know my answer.
You don't even know what it is yet.
Let me have a wild guess.
It's something wonderfully different, so disruptive.
Such mind-blowing potential.
So, why don't we do it?
You just don't get it, do you? I've had your back for a zillion years, because I stood my ground. I protected everything that was fragile and precious from your random ideas. I'm the reason we're alive.
Well, there's more to life than being alive.
Can you hear how crazy that sounds?
It might sound crazy, But that's what it takes. That's what feeds new ideas, ideas that take us places, that travel the world, connects what wasn't connected. Look at it.
We don't need more ideas, we need less. We get more data in one day than we did in a lifetime 500 years ago. Do you know how much work that is to process?
Things won't get easier just by clinging to what we have.
You think you're so smart.
And you're just scared.
Yes, scared that we're wasting our time.
What happened to the guy who stuck his neck out of the cave or put his boots on the moon?
I'm instinct, not a romantic thought. I fight when we are attacked.
And who survives? The one who adapts? Or the one who never changes?
How many guesses do I get?
We've been here before. Trust me.
If I do, can we meet halfway?
I think you know my answer.
Yep, and our brains are reptilian in a way. We are by DNA we are coded to think from very primitive thought process. When change comes at extreme speeds in exponential nature, it is tough for us to adopt, and that's what we all have to fight through, and even as organizations and individuals. As an organization, we opened up a little bit, right? And over the years, we've also made some strides of progress because of opening up. I wanted to share a little bit of Maersk story right after this. Hope you can stay along with me on that. So right after we said, okay, digital innovation and technology is going to be a large driver for our progress from here on. We started taking some important steps in the journey along the way. One is to build our own digital capability. So now we have a strongly built digital capability sitting in multiple parts of the globe, including India, Maidenhead, and Copenhagen. And we are trying to keep our strength growing day in, day out. We are not going to limit that growth. And constantly we are thriving on the idea of building things in-house. We went through a large cultural transformation. So this is not just about hiring capability, but it's also about ensuring that the mindset of people changes, remembering the flip side of the coin. We opened up options for open innovation. That's where I come in. I lead the open innovation function, which is called Ocean Pro, which works on identifying external technology startups to work along with Maersk, bringing in new inspiration, new thought process, fresh blood into the system. On the other hand, we also said people inside the organization should be open enough to hack into their processes day in, day out. So we worked on entrepreneurship programs. We started building internal startups. We conducted hackathons. We also opened up our model to think differently from a technology point of view. We built customer forums, which was largely to see. In most cases, what we do is we start thinking on solutions from inside out, and it so happens that we stop thinking about customers effectively. So we built forums which included customers in the thinking process, right? So many of these forums allowed the customers to air out their problems in open. We brought them together for a lot of brainstorming sessions. In a way, customers are ideating along with us, solving their problem and also ours. That's an interesting method that we are following. And we've also moving most part of our technology architecture into cloud and data-centric focus rather than keeping it into the legacy structures that we used to have. See, these are some large changes that we went ahead with. I'm going to talk a little more about the Open Innovation Program, which has brought me here today in front of all of you. I'm going to meet a lot of startups through NextRise and also tell you why we wanted to have the Open Innovation Program with us. In spite of becoming a largest logistics company for almost quarter century, right? So almost last 25 to 30 years, we've stuck with the identity of being the largest shipping company in the world. We wanted to bring our identity more in terms of a digitally transformed customer-centric organization which is not just a shipping company, but a logistics integrator. This was one of the biggest visions that we were chasing, and we realized that all of this cannot happen just with in-house capabilities. We opened our mindset to say that we need to meet, work, and leverage the startup ecosystem. We opened up in twofold. One is around creating a venture arm, which is called the Maersk Growth, where we are constantly identifying great startups to invest on as a corporate venture capitalist team. On the other hand, we also opened up Ocean Pro. Ocean Pro was largely focusing on experimenting with startups, working along with them, giving them real use cases and business opportunities so they can work with a large entity like Maersk on global landscape of problems. So we don't work on regional issues. We don't work on narrow use cases or fake data. We work on real problems that are today and here and now, allowing the startups to gain an understanding of the industry and the company. And on the other hand, we also leverage that opportunity to learn a lot about the technology that is in the market. So that's what we are trying to achieve with Ocean Pro, and we've been in operation for almost 2.5, 3 years right now. We worked with roughly about 20 plus startups already, and currently working with 8 startups as we talk right now. So 28 startups is our overall portfolio till date. Since we don't just focus on sitting with them on a random conversation and mentoring them, we take meticulous efforts in ensuring that each of the startups work on some real business problem for Maersk. We are called as Ocean Pro in the rest of the world. In China, we are heartily referred to as AIM, Acceleration Innovating with Maersk, primarily for translation reasons. And both the teams are effectively leveraging the startup ecosystems across the world and not just restricted to India or China. So Ocean Pro scouts the global landscape. We meet startups from across the world, including Germany, Israel, and now with Korea as well. I'm going to meet at least 20 startups in the event of NextRise. And AIM scout startups in all of APA region, Vietnam, China, Singapore, and rest of the Southeast Asian countries is what we focus on. And our primary motto sits in the idea of fuel, accelerate, generate value, and scale. Let me share a little bit about the framework here. So till date, I've met at least 1,000 plus startups, and we worked on 28 of them. And interest is primarily to run time-bound experiments, run for about 4 months with paid proof of concept. So we don't want to exhaust the startups of their efforts or resources. So instead, we fund them during the period. It's a no equity grant. Whatever money is being given to the startup is in exchange of the efforts and not for a piece of the company. And during that 4 months period, they are asked to work on a focused line of business and revealing the opportunities that can add value for Maersk and the startup. Um, During this period, our success measure is very critical. What we try to achieve is basically if the startup can become an IT solution provider for Maersk eventually. And giving them a small company a shot at becoming an enrolled IT vendor for a large organization like Maersk. And we primarily focus on having the setup called as an EIR and a sponsor, which means the people who are working with the startup are not just random mentors. They're actual representatives of business that the startup is going to solve the problems for, and they will be working so close with the startup that the options of exchange of knowledge and data is so straightforward. Um, we keep the legalities and the procurement exercise as light as possible in spite of being a large entity. That's a constant effort that we invest on, and so far it's given us some amazing success results. What you're seeing is the complete portfolio of all the startups that I've worked with. I just wanted to call out that just because we are a logistics company, it doesn't mean that we work only with technologies that are closest to the logistics business. If you look at the screen, you will understand that we've gone completely towards the spectrum. We worked with learning and development startup. We worked with AR, VR startups. We've used RPA democratization. We worked on chatbot technology. Today, we are working on robotic technology for underwater drone and hull inspection. We are looking at warehouse automation opportunities. The spectrum is pretty wide, and Maersk being a large organization with multiple streams of business, from terminal management to container production to air cargo to landside business, trucking, all of that comes into play. So the opportunities for engaging startups from different walks of life is pretty evident. We are even working with companies which are working on alternative fuel and working towards a vision of carbon neutral shipping. So all of these are in our spectrum and pipeline. I look forward to welcoming all of you to explore more about Ocean Pro on our website. It is MaerskOceanPro.com. You could write to us. You could write to me independently as well. My LinkedIn profile is going to be available probably on the NextRise website, and you could reach out to us for more opportunities that can be explored. Primarily, the intent is to look at more global landscapes and amazing startups. I've known that South Korea has become one of the greatest innovation hubs in the recent past, and I look forward to leveraging that for Maersk growth as well through Ocean Pro. Thank you all for listening to me, and pleasure meeting you all. Bye bye.